Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It has been almost 6 months since the last video. To catch up, I have planned to release few new episodes covering the best of 2022 and the TV landscape. And the very first episode of this series, let's recap the last 6 months by covering some of the big hits and many undiscovered gems which might have gotten lost in the discussions. Some of the biggest things that happened in the latter half of 2022 are the Emmy Awards, 2 quarterly earnings calls, a few executive changes, 2 new exciting shows from the newly rebranded Freebie, continuous successes for FX, a deal with Hallmark for Peacock, further confusion at TV side of WBD, the usual packed last quarter of Netflix, and finally, the epic battle of IPs in September. In that battle, Andor, the best Star Wars in a while, struggled a bit to get buzz like the previous Star Wars projects. Imagine what might have happened to some less promoted shows when a Star Wars property that is a prequel to 1 billion grosser gets such a response. Fret not, that's why we are here to recap and recommend shows from the last 6 months, both big and small network wise. But before that, let's go through the best and funny titles and descriptions as part of our discussion. The usual suspect, Atlanta is joined by Avenue 5, Ramy and Westworld, replacing Barry and the boys from the last cycle. And now, let us get into the episode. Let us begin our recap with HBO and HBO Max as usual. The big budgeted Westworld returned for what seems to be its final outing. Aaron Paul was one of the bright spots of this uneven season, which also limited the screen time of Maeve. Apart from the 1 or 2 episodes in the middle, the season as a whole is a huge letdown. At least it's an improvement over the third outing. Following this, in HBO, Nathan Fielder returned with yet another hit, The Rehearsal. It follows some tropes of his seminal hit, Nathan For You, especially the episode where he rehearses for the Jimmy Kimmel show. The core of the show is not the rehearsals, but Nathan trying to find a meaningful relationship, be it with a friend or a family, and he, as usual, sandwiched both of these elements nicely, which makes this show as beautiful and poignant as it's funny. Then came Rap Shit, Isha Ray's scripted follow-up to her wonderful show Insecure. This new show, which follows the budding rap artist and the music industry, helps in filling a small space in the big hole left by Insecure. It is still rough around the edges, but the way they are building the show makes me more hopeful for the second season. Then came the third season of Harley Quinn, which still has the charisma and the edge which made the show unique. Even the C and D plots like the race for Gotham and the Nightwing's need for approval all played out well, along with the main plots like Batman's internal turmoil and the budding relationship of Harley. The chemistry between the leads is nicely done, and giving Ivy her own arc was really good idea. Along with Harley Quinn, Adult Swim's Primal aired. This gorgeously animated show followed its masterpiece of a first season with yet another home run. I agree that the final showdown seemed somewhat rushed and an afterthought in the final episode, but each of the episodes in the season is done in an amazing way. The action set pieces are superbly set and choreographed, but the emotional scenes and the silence becomes the highlight once again. They close to the chapter of Spear and Fang in a pretty good fashion. Industry is another show which came for its second season after a small gap. The banking drama improved a lot over its uneven first season. This time, they made the story even more gripping, and it, in turn, built the tension in every episode. Then came the biggest show of the year, House of the Dragon, which surprised many with its second week viewership holding than its quality. This was possible because they did a fantastic job of making the political musical chair and the strategic planning in a way that each episode became an edge of the seat thriller and required immediate viewing. Every actor did an outstanding job, but the real scene stealer here is Paddy Constantine as the King Viserys. Another important part of the show's success is handling the exposition creatively after every time jump. Last Espookys came for its second season after a huge gap, and it still impresses with its witty, absurd comedy. The whimsical tone, uniqueness of each character, and very good subplots makes this a very funny show. I urge you to check out this show, which you definitely will appreciate. Hostages from HBO, focusing on the Iran hostage crisis, is one of the few documentaries I watched in 2022, and it is the best so far. Covering the subject matter from both sides without calling out any judgments was one of the many reasons for this show's success. The episode count and the runtime helped the show to be crisp as well. In a time where there are very few shows with the capability to make one laugh out loud, Avenue 5 is guaranteeing the viewers at least a few laugh out loud moments on a weekly basis. The problem with the show is that it's not consistent enough which they corrected to some extent in the second season. And moreover, it doesn't matter much when you get an episode like Is It a Good Dot, which will go down as one of the very funniest episodes of this year. The sophomore season of the White Lotus is so much better than the first outing, just for the sheer amount of time that they spent on building each character, making them well defined, which made the back half of the show even better. The new setting, new locale, and the new characters make everything fresh, which when combined with White Lotus's unique touch, makes the time we spend with each character refreshingly fun, and also makes us want to spend some more time with the characters' devious minds. The second season of the Sex Life of College Girls had a bumpy start. It was when it reached the 5th episode, the season started to click and remained wonderful. The chemistry between the cast, the inclusion of more characters in the 4 lead, and the writing of the flawed characters gel up nicely in the season 2. From ever consistent HBO and HBO Max, we can now shift our attention to Hulu and FX. FX is having the best year in terms of hits, both on the creative side and the business side. After struggling a bit in the last year, this year turned out to be very productive for its network and its production venture. What We Do in the Shadows is turned out to be one among the few staple FX comedies returned with a banger after a somewhat middling season 3. Introducing new characters like Genie and Marva in this world makes the plots funnier and keeps them creatively fresh. And also, including Sean the neighbor in a more of a recurring role in the season was an excellent idea. All the subplots were handled perfectly and all the setups paid off well. Old Man, which came out next, was the only big miss for FX this year. Even the amazing cast couldn't help the show from overly stretched out plot lines. What started as a stylish thriller felt a lot dragged when they reached the season finale, and the twist didn't leave much of an impact at that point. Another fun season of only murders in the building embarked on us next. The sophomore season with a tremendously talented cast may not be on the same level of its first outing, but it served a delicious meal on a weekly basis by maintaining quality, twists, and loads of fun. The first half of the year belonged to better things, and in the second half, the Reservation Dogs took the reign. Splitting up the characters helped to show each character's personal growth, and it also made the small moments when they were together a blast. Apart from the main leads, the supporting characters like the Aunties, Big, Spirit Warrior, and Uncle Brownie, along with the guest actors like Mark Macron, were given a nice role to play. The finale was so good and so befitting to the story they started in the pilot. The recently renewed show This Fool comes from the creators of The Corporate, one of my favorite comedies. The show's lighthearted take on the class divide has its unique and really funny moments throughout the season. Occasional quips and observational humor hit the right target, which helped them achieve a higher jokes per minute ratio. Welcome to Wrexham is a fun-filled sports documentary that did a perfect job of giving the club a huge exposure. Did the season need 18 episodes? Maybe a common question for many. By the end of the season, we do realize that the structure makes sense. As we explore Wales, the city of Wrexham and its crumbling stadium, and its loyal fans, along with the players and the coaching staff elaborately. When I started the FX animated show Little Demon, I didn't expect to like it as much. It is not a great show, but it had its moments with its nice little creative touches and the way the plot was structured. Both helped the character's journey. The Patient starring Steve Carell and Donald Gleason comes from the duo who had a major role in making The Americans. They replicate their excellence to some extent in building up a good slow burn drama. I get that the fans are mixed with the way the show ended, but I quite liked it. An interesting exploration in short and precise episodes, along with a skilled performance, made this show a gripping tale to watch on a weekly basis. The final season of Atlanta is one of the best shows of 2022. Loved all the previous 3 seasons and loved the final one as well. The season is so amazing and can be touted as their best season yet. They closed out the season with yet another brilliant episode. Reboot. Stephen Leviton's follow-up to the mega hit Modern Family is really good and pretty funny. The show's take on the reboot culture, the TV industry, and the streaming era is wholesome. The dialogue rating should be lauded for its quirky one-liners and a good set of funny industry jokes. The show has its dull moments as well, but those are made better by the amazing cast. This is one of the shows which would have benefited a lot if they have extended the show to 10 or 13 episodes or even a full season. Abbott Elementary, one of the most pleasant surprises and genuine broadcast hits in the recent years, is back for its second season, and it is continuing to entertain us every single week. The simple setting and the likable characters with very good stories makes this the best sitcom on air. The overarching story shown in the earlier episodes seems promising, and I hope they continue it. Ramy's third season is sad, dark, and even harrowing at times as usual, but it is thought-provoking and funny as well. These extremes are once again handled beautifully. The emotional final scene is well earned and one of the best works of this year. This was possible because of the careful setup throughout the season. The importance given to each one of the characters is nice, and like always, their flaws and growths are amazingly captured. Fleishman is in Trouble, which is based on the novel of the same name, so wonderfully and neatly executed show. The editing style and the directing went hand in hand to create such nice scenes, which make this show even better. One more nice thing is the way the integrated voiceover created into the show. All that praise aside, this show has some big flaws as well, which I hope they resolve in the last 2 episodes, which I hope will focus on Rachel. Coming to Apple TV Plus, the service continues its purple patch with very good hits in the last few months. For All Mankind returned for the 3rd season, and it continues to surprise us. This season deals with a race to Mars promised in the post-credit scene, and this time the race is on 4 friends instead of the usual 2. Our leads are equally split and grouped along with the new characters. The tension in each plot is executed well, with nice little payoffs thanks to the time that they gave us to spend with the characters to form an emotional connection. As always, the expositions are handled well. A little spoiler alert here. The moment when Ellen the President comes out as gay is very touching and powerful at the same time. For this, a special kudos to the editing team to cut the shot to capture the reactions of other leads. Maya Rudolph leads the new Apple TV comedy Loot. This deals with how her character spends her wealth of $87 billion which she got in a divorce settlement. The show, after the initial episodes, turns into a generic workplace comedy, but the brilliant cast made those situations funnier. Blackbird, Dennis Legane's first show with Apple TV Plus, could have gone into a pile of true crime shows of 2022, but his shift screenplay and brilliant acting all around made this show an amazing one. From the very first episode, the show sets the tone with a sense of urgency, and they maintained it in all 6 precise episodes. Paul Walter Hauser is getting a lot of appreciation, as he should, but don't take away anything from Target Egerton, as he also did a fantabulous job. I love Catastrophe so much. Since then, I became a huge fan of Sharon Horgan's work. And a new dark comedy, Bad Sisters, is another well-made show. This show deals with the mysteries behind the death of a sadistic person and his sisters-in-law who may be responsible for his death. A huge congratulations to the casting department for nailing the casting, and to Claes Bang and Annie Marie Duff for portraying their respective characters so nicely. I have one small nitpick. If they have managed to shorten the season a bit, the story would have been crisp, which became a little repetitive. But this is just a small thing in this wonderfully executed show. The 3rd season of Mythic Quest remains a hit or miss just like the previous 2 seasons, and just like the last outings, the season's standalone episode is superb and nicely connects the main plot as well. The 2nd season of Slow Horses has now become a very interesting spy thriller, as it had the responsibility of establishing setting and the characters. Now we understand the eagerness and the sloppiness more, which gives us more than enough time to cover the case and the brilliance of Jackson Lamb and intern Gary Oldman. The final seasons of AMC's Jewels, Better Call Saul, and The Walking Dead are in the conversations for a good amount of time. What more to say about Better Call Saul than what it is already said? Anyway, I'm reiterating this. This is a great piece of TV, and check it out if you haven't already. Between the main shows parts 2 and 3, Tales of the Walking Dead aired, which missed out on a great opportunity by giving us uninspired episodes on most of the weeks. The final season of the phenomenal hit, The Walking Dead, had a couple of problems. It had way too many characters to cover, and the Commonwealth storyline always seemed a little late in the game. The other thing is that the storyline did move toward a series finale, let alone a season finale. But that aside, it was very good to see the entire gang back on the screen for the last 8 episodes, before each of them goes into their respective spin-offs. And the slow-paced finale was a good and an emotional send-off to this amazing show. The good-natured comedy Ghosts from BBC returned with a bang for its 4th season, and everything clicked for the show, making it one of the funniest shows on air. The Sci-Fi Network's alien comedy, Resident Alien, returned for the back end of its sophomore season. The set of episodes acted out nicely to explore the new threats built on the mid-season cliffhanger, and also placed our leads in an interesting situation for the upcoming 3rd season, and all the while expanding its mythos. This stayed a jolly good show. Resort from Peacock may be another show which might go under the radar like the streamer's other originals. This mystery comedy did a decent job both on the mystery side as well as the comedy side, making it a fun show to indulge in. All the cast members and the good set of twists and turns keeps one engaged through this fun ride. Now moving on to Paramount Plus, which is another winner quality-wise in the last 4 months with the release of Evil, Players, and the new version of Beavis and Butthead. The show Players is by the creators of American Vandal. This new show bases its story on the growing esports community. The documentary style treatment adds flavor to the show and fits perfectly into the show's nature. Covering the story parallelly in two different time periods adds a certain mystery into the mix and also helps in structuring the character arcs. Each character is nicely designed, which makes this show a sure shot fun time. The cleverness in writing is what I love about Evil, and the Kings once again proved by making all the characters equally important to the story, and at the crucial juncture, they reap the rewards by using the character understandings to the utmost level. The reduced episode count was a little disappointing as a fan, but it made the storyline compact. The highlights of the season for me are the introduction of McCobb, Andy's storyline, Ben's character growth, integrating David's mission with the overall story, and finally, Leland vs. Children. And I agree, there is so much to gush about. This yet another excellent season of TV. The new iteration of Beavis and Butthead is a blast. This is my introduction to these characters, and everywhere I saw, I am seeing a very good reception from the fans of the classic show, especially appreciating the rating. Apart from the main plots, the characters commenting on the music videos and the other YouTube videos are super funny as well. This will go down as one of the best shows of 2022. The Sylvester Stallone-led gangster show is a pure fun show to watch, even though the story is just a surface-level mob drama. The lead screen presence, along with the likable characters and the interesting setup, go hand in hand to make this a fun watch if you're into the genre. More importantly, the 30-minute runtime and the pacing helps this dramedy a lot. Moving on to Netflix. The third season of Never Have I Ever is their best season, not because of it being funny or consistent, but because of the decrease in the forced non-syncing Tamil dialogues and stereotypes. Keeping the rambling aside, the season was consistent with its humor, and it also did a good job of setting up the final season. From Ramy and Amir comes Mo, a sweet-natured and heartwarming funny show. The show earns its emotional moments by giving us ample time to get to know the characters and their struggles. The laugh out loud moments are nicely done by giving enough care. I think this is a crime on Netflix part for not yet reading this must-watch show. Cobra Kai Season 4 was a so-and-so for me, but the 5th season returned to its better days. With too many characters in place, there was no shortage for subplots. At the halfway stage, the season got its mojo, and it built upon it nicely. Chosen was a nice addition to the cast. He chewed all the scenes he was in. The playlist covers the initial days of Spotify, from the eyes of different key people involved in launching the service. This show benefited a lot from the structure, which made the story and the characters compelling enough. And then comes the fictional final episode, which deals with the future of the service in terms of its argument with the creators. The final episode, as you might have guessed, is a bit divisive, but even though you don't like that kind of a finale, you might appreciate the remaining 5 episodes. Del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities is an anthology show where the world building in every episode is awesome. The likeness of the ending of these stories varies from person to person is what I think. The 6th season of Big Mouth covers some important topics like parenting and love being who you are in a comical and interesting way possible, and the signature Big Mouth style helps it a lot. If you like the previous seasons, you will absolutely love this season as well. Netflix's scripted comedy take on the last Blockbuster, which resembled Superstore a lot and also just lasted one season, was for sure riddled with cliches, but as the episodes went on, I started to like spending time with the characters. The 5th season of Crown went through cast change, and it still remains one of the nicely cast and acted shows currently on air. The latest offering misses something that the previous outings were able to produce, which made it compelling and interesting. It still has very good moments spread throughout the season, like the episode Momo and the dinner scene in the penultimate episode. 1899, the eerie sci-fi show from the Dark creators, acts as a good follow-up to the monumental show. After the initial few episodes, which lacked the forward momentum due to its slow pacing, the show became much more interesting and finished on a higher note. The biggest problem in the season is that it kept us outside of its world for a very long time. In addition to this, the setting up of characters took ample time, in which only a few characters were used in the season. Christina Applegate and Linda Collin led Dead to Me bowed out last month, with very sad character arcs for some and hopeful ones for some, but mainly sad. All the 3 leads once again did an amazing job. The topics discussed in this season were good, but I didn't like the way they went about it. But it's just my personal opinion, as I'm seeing a very good response in most of the places. Jenna Ortega is amazing as Wednesday Addams in Wednesday, which has a good set of acting performances throughout. The first season centers on the mysterious deaths in the Nevermore High. The final reveal and some character choices in the last 2 episodes spoiled the season a bit for me, but the deadpan deliveries from the lead and the very nice world building makes this a good and entertaining watch. Coming to Prime Video, which premiered TV's most expensive show to date, and A League of Their Own. Let's start with A League of Their Own, which is A.B. Jacobson's follow-up to Broad City. This comedy show is based on a baseball league that was formed especially for women during World War II. The show is not for everyone, but those who get into it will be rewarded with brilliant acting, chemistry, friendship, and a nice heartwarming tale. The first episode sets the tone, so give that episode a try in its entirety before taking a call on watching the show. The first season of the mega-budgeted Rings of Power concentrated mainly on two things: the creation of Mordor and the introduction of Sauron. The season started off well, but in the middle, I thought the show fell a bit. It rose again, but the finale didn't hold up, so it was a mixed season in my opinion. In the technical categories, the show excelled. James Corden-led Mammals was better than I thought it would be. It revolves around two couples whose marriage is in a precarious situation. The way they handle the storytelling made the show interesting, but the problem lies in the slow and metaphor-filled screenplay. Now on to Amazon's premium free streaming service Freevee, which premiered two wonderful shows. First up, let's see Sprung, one of this year's best comedies with huge jokes per minute ratio and a lot of laugh out loud moments. This 9-episode wacky comedy can be enjoyed more if you get into this world, and believe me, once you did, you will get your time's worth. The show revolves around a group of small-time criminals who are all released from prison due to COVID and all have to steal for various reasons. This heartwarming comedy is a pleasant surprise and surely is a must-watch. Another pleasant surprise from Freevee is High School, a heartfelt coming-of-age story that is beautifully acted and neatly executed. The casting department did a fine job of choosing a good mix of fresh and experienced actors for the roles. The perfect use of setups and blending the emotional scenes effortlessly into the story makes this a must-watch show. And now we move on to Disney Plus, which continues its release of either Star Wars or Marvel in almost all of the months in this year. After Miss Marvel, She-Hulk filled its Marvel spot. The Tatiana Maslany-led show attempted a few new things and broke cliche in some parts, and it worked well in some areas, but fell flat mostly. The thing I liked about the show is that the way they lower the stakes and just concentrate on She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters, and her career in a sitcom style. The inclusion of Matt Murdock was fun, and Charlie Cox nailed this version of Daredevil. But Jen, mastering her Hulk training in just a few days, rivalry with Titania, a few court cases, and the finale were a mixed bag. Overall, the show is a passable venture. Big Shot returned for its second season Binge model, which helped the show in a good way. The subplots that they went with supplemented the overall story and helped the character growth. The season was a jolly good time, and quality-wise, this basketball drama is a stark improvement over the first season by a few miles. Andor, hands down, is the best Star Wars in recent times, be it in live action or in animation. But sadly, the conversation around it was very minimal until the last few weeks. The 12-episode first season's weakest part is the opening 3 episodes, which lacked somewhat of an episodic structure and seemed like 90-minute movie cut into 3 episodes. But the best thing is that they released all the 3 episodes at the launch, which helped the show a lot. From there, the slow burn drama with a clear purpose and well-defined characters took everyone by surprise with its well-structured storytelling. The show explores and expands the Imperial era with intricate details. The writing and the slow burn nature of the show built tension nicely and made every high movement feel earned. Disney Plus released some shorts like I Am Groot, Baymax, and Cars on the Road, which were all on the scale of okayish to good. Now coming on to the regional shows, all the major ones which premiered in this period knew their purpose well and gave us solid plots without any meandering. Meme Boys takes on a conventional story with a fun approach and good dialogue. The editing helped the show a lot to make it a fun-filled and entertaining watch. Tamil Rockers from Sony Live marks the return of the legendary production house after a while. This return is a bit exposition heavy, but the action thriller is a decent show with equal importance given to both sides. 21 vs 31 was good, but I liked the Telugu version, 30 vs 21 even more. Yeah, that closes our recap. Before closing out, let's check the must-watch and fun shows once more. Both of these lists have a wonderful mix of genres, ranging from fantasy to sitcom to sci-fi to coming of age to edge of the seat thrillers. The must-watch shows of the last 6 months are Rehearsal, Industry, House of the Dragons, Hostages, Primal, Avenue 5, The White Lotus, and last Espookys from HBO and HBO Max. AMC chimes in the final season of Better Call Saul from Freevee, Sprung and High School, Ghosts from BBC, Andor from Disney Plus, Mo, from Netflix. Hulu and FX gave Atlanta, What We Do in the Shadows, Reservation Dogs, Abbott Elementary, Ramy, Welcome to Wrexham, The Patient, and Fleishman is in Trouble. Apple TV continued success from summer with For All Mankind, Blackbird, and Bad Sisters. Paramount Plus finds huge footing in the streaming race with Evil, the newer version of Beavis and Butthead. Moving on to the fun shows to binge from the last 6 months. Harley Quinn, Last Espookys, Industry, House of the Dragons, Avenue 5, The White Lotus, and Sex Life of College Girls from HBO and HBO Max. Resident Alien from Sci-Fi, The Resort from Peacock, Welcome to Wrexham, Reservation Dogs, Only Murders in the Building, This Fool, What We Do in the Shadows, and Reboot from FX and Hulu. Players, Evil, Beavis and Butthead, and Tulsa King from Paramount Plus. Slow Horses, Bad Sisters, For All Mankind, and Loot from Apple TV Plus. Abbott Elementary from ABC. Meme Boys from Sony Live. Ghosts from BBC. A League of Their Own Prime Video. Big Shot and Andor from Disney Plus. Sprung and High School from Freevee. And finally, Mo, Cobra Kai, and Wednesday from Netflix. With this, we come to the end of the episode. So yeah, don't forget to check out these amazing shows. And if you have already watched it, don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section. I will be always happy to go through them. And if you want any personal recommendations, do DM us on Insta or come to Twitter where we are very active. I left the social media handles in the description. And finally, don't forget to like and share the video if you liked it. And do subscribe to the channel, it will be a good boost. And also, check out the other videos which are all coming sooner. All that said, it's me Vicky signing off.